Well, Dee, we're here at the Riverside as we look back on the second round of the championship, but I have to say, they say that Nave and the Raps are doing that well, they're taking us off the senior coverage. Don't you make of that, Dee?
Sure, look, I suppose it's just a bit of a change, I suppose.
A bit of a change, yeah. Well, I don't mind because I can focus on the gory stats and not be sharing our inside info. But look, we get the opportunity to look at grade hurling in the county, and right across the grades from right down to junior A, there's lads tugging out, and there's great skill on show across the weekend. So we'd really encourage everyone to get out and to go to games, because it's a fantastic entertainment anyway. So when we look at Group A of the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Hurling Championship, at the top of the table there at the moment we've Tara Rocks and Timon both on 4 points, then Askamore and St James's are on 2 each, and at the bottom of the table Halfway House, Buncrody and Adamstown are lagging behind there with yet to get a game. Unfortunately, like, injuries are a big part of it, and especially for Adamstown, but as well as that, I don't think Buncrody would be too happy to be where they are there in 5th position, obviously anyway, but as well as that, I think they might have something more to give in the coming weeks anyway. So
yeah, I was actually talking to one of my friends the other day. He plays for a club that have lost their first 2 fixtures, and I was kind of saying to him he's a bit under pressure, but he was actually saying, if we win our next 3 matches, sure, we could finish top of our group. So
that's it. And the nature of this championship, D, is that, like, you have to have lads that are fit, but also you don't want to be shown, you don't want to be very strong in these early rounds, because otherwise you're going to burn yourself out.
Yes, that's it. Like, there's a lot of talk at the minute about who's peaking now, but it could be the wrong time to be peaking. You'd want to be peaking coming into the quarterfinals, coming into semi-finals, and obviously your best match, you want to save that for the county final if you get there, hopefully.
Yeah. So looking back on it then, it was St James's and Timon Camross there, and it was a full-blooded game there. Timon edging it there 3-14 to 119. So for Timon, Adam and Luke Sinnott, Barry and Stephen O'Gorman, Cathal Doyle, Ian Carty and Conor Murphy were all very good. And goals won games here. Jimmy's won most of the broken ball around the middle third, but Timon's subs all had good games, and like the last day, they probably finished with a stronger team than they started with. The scores for Timon included Cathal Doyle with 11 points, Conor Murphy, who hurled for the Wexford under-20s this year, he got 2 goals and a point, Stephen O'Gorman with a goal and a point, and Ian Carty got a point. For the Jimmies, the 2 Barons were excellent, while Shane Murphy was faultless on the frees, and they felt it could have gone either way, and that 2 of the goals for Timon were fortuitous. It all depends on what way you look at the game, really.
Yeah, well, I just remember looking back on I was at the intermediate county final last year, and I thought Cathal Doyle was outstanding for Timon that day. So Cottal's just back after an injury. I think it was a hamstring injury, so he's back now, and it seems to be that he's flying for him with 11 points. I know he does be taking the frees for them and everything, but even Stephen O'Gorman, he's just such a silky hurler. His touch is phenomenal. He could turn on a sixpence. Anytime he gets the ball, you just feel like there's going to be a goal out of him. He's that clinical. So, like, Timon are flying at the minute, and at the start of the year they would have set out their aims for the year. After losing in the county final last year, I think they could feel like they can go the whole way this year and get back up to the senior ranks. Yeah, and like he was very clinical in the game, all right. And Darry Glynn had a good game for St James's. He's the Athenry import, as they refer to him, down in Ramsgrange. Shane Murphy was dangerous, but the game just got away from them. A tight game down in the tight confines of the new Ross pitch. I kind of like that description there. And a few intermediate clubs were raising voices and raising suggestions that these few intermediate games should get the more premier venues of Wexford Park and Macaulay Park now. So I don't know. Yeah, well, I remember during COVID when the championship was happening that all the senior games were in Wexford Park and all the intermediate games were in Belfield. Well, Macaulay Belfield now, but they deserve to be playing in the big grounds. It's an exciting championship. It's as exciting as the senior championship, sometimes even more exciting. Once you're down there, it's hard to get back up into senior ranks if you're down there for a few years, which I'll discuss later about Feathered. Feathered this week had another beating to Blackwater, and look, at the start of the year I would have thought Featherton maybe might win the intermediate championship and come straight back up, but a loss on the first day and then a loss to Blackwater this week. They are struggling a small bit, and if you're down there for a few years, you know it's harder and harder every year to get back up.
So anyway, now the Jimmies now travel up to Belfield and they'll take on Bunclody there. So yeah, we'll come to that when we talk about Bunclody's performance. But another game then in the Group A was St Adams of Adamstown. They lost to Askamore 3-21 to 14 points, the final score there. So Askamore found the first half a bit cagey. Midway into the second half then Adamstown stopped using a sweeper and Askamore forwards came into their own. Shane Tompkins got a great goal after a 40-yard run, followed with Tucker Kinsella goal with a nice finish from a tight angle, and Tucker also got a goal in the first round game. Patrick Nolan was strong in defence, while Gary Dorn made his first appearance for the year with an impressive impact as a sub there. So that was Askamore lead 3-21 to 14. It'll be interesting to see now their next game with Askamore taking on Timon, and Adamstown have a tricky task. They play Tara Rocks.
Yeah, look, Adamstown for the last few years, or after missing a few hurlers, have gone abroad and so on. They seem to struggle in the group every year, but when it seems to come to that big relegation match or a match they need to win, you know, they always pull it out of the bag somehow. But so it's a bad start for Adamstown, but I don't know, they have that bit of grit between the teeth when it gets to the business end that they might need to panic about anything.
Right, we'll wait and see in that one. Yeah, Askamore coming good there now. It'll be interesting to see.
They were in the league final now. I lost last week for them against Tara Rocks. Tara Rocks seem to be showing well.
They do, yeah.
They seem to be young, fit. Look, it's a big footballing area up in Tara Rocks, so they're obviously fit. So if they keep going where they're going, who knows?
And they had a 20 point to 114 win over Bunclody. But now Bunclody say they were missing 3 starters owing to injury and a leaving cert holiday maker. But Tara Rock started well with 2 points from play, thanks to points from Dean O'Toole and Joe Curtis. They kept the scoreboard ticking over with frees, and Bunclody pulled it back to 6 points to 2 after 15 minutes. Goal chances were reverted thanks to Derry Mahan for Bunclody, and Keane Hughes looked dangerous in the first half for Tara Rocks. Keane was fouled twice, leading to frees converted and building up a 6-point lead. Ben Martin influential for Bunclody towards the end of the first half. 4 unanswered points before Joe Curtis, Dean O'Toole and Niall Hughes gave Tara Rocks a 9-6 lead at the break. Bunclody resumed brightly. Within 7 minutes they levelled 10 points apiece. Keane Hughes, Joe Curtis and super sub Conor Kinsella answered with points. Dean O'Toole with a long range effort carved out a 4-point lead with 12 minutes left on the clock. Bunclody got some frees. Replies came from Mark Boland, and then Aidan Nolan was pushed up from centre back to centre forward, and with 5 minutes to go Bunclody got a goal. Tara Rock steadied the ship. Brendan Hobbs, Dean O'Toole, Niall Hughes and Joe Curtis all starred, and Bunclody were a little bit reliant on Sean Kenny and Aidan Nolan.
Yeah, look, just even when you were reading out those names, there are a few names a few football supporters would recognise, the likes of Niall Hughes, Dean O'Toole, 2 intercounty footballers. Then they Tara Rocks also have Conor Devitt, superb hurler. I think he's after cementing his place in that Wexford team cornerback now. He's a phenomenal hurler. And even the young Joe Curtis. Joe was actually part of the under-20 team last year. He's a great hurler, great head on his shoulders. And look, Tara Rocks won intermediate aid 2 years ago, so they're really kicking on now. They're after building that little bit of hurling rapport up there. They might be even getting a bit of a graw for it, but great. They're a great team, fast, steady on the ball, athletic. They're sort of all-rounders, and the results now are starting to show for them.
Yeah.
Bunclody, on the other hand, has 2 losses from 2, but they've been in the 2 games, so I don't think they have that much to panic about yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'd agree with you there. And they've, as we said there, they've the Jimmy shortly, and we also just to say that Timon play Askamore in the next game. That should be a good game now.
Yeah.
So lovely. So we'll move on then to Group B for the intermediate. the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Hurling Championship, and riding high, top of the table here, Buffers Alley and Clubon on top on points difference there. Looking at on paper before this, we would have thought Clubon are going to be one of the early leaders, and they're at the top of the table here. Do you think that they'll feature in the business end, right, Dee?
We played them in a charity match before the championship started, and they look very red hot now. They were scoring points at will. They looked to be sharp. They looked to have their structure down. They seemed as if they were going to be the team to beat for me anyway. But then unfortunately got that bad injury to Bob Whitty in the first round or before the first round, and he's going to be out for the year. That might affect him later on in the championship. But look, there's some great hurlers for Clubon at the minute. You have Conal Flood, who's excellent, Harry Keogh, Sean Keating in the goal, I think is phenomenal. His range of puckouts and everything, long, short, he's a big man. He can drive a hurling ball the length of the pitch. So look, if they keep winning matches, they're going to get that winning momentum going, and who knows where it could take them. They might be back up in senior ranks before the note.
That charity game that you said, that was Seamus
Murphy.
Is it Murphy or Walsh?
Seamus Walsh Cup.
Seamus Walsh Cup, yeah.
Was, yes.
Seamus Walsh, a real Wexford GA character, and God rest his soul, he was some man. But anyway, Clubon are flying it. And they're going to be. This is going to be a great top of the table clash now after they're playing Buffers Alley next. But looking back on their game there with Gussaran, they enjoyed a healthy enough victory, 323 to 11 points. Harry Keogh cleaned up at full forward with 113, 8 coming from frees. Conal Flood, as you mentioned there, he was very good as well. He scored 2-5, won many of the high balls dropping into him from deeper in the field. Barry Carton scored a brace of points. Paddy Whitty, Darren Rebin and Shane Keogh all chipped in with points. A lot of shots on target. There was a lot of shooting practice as well. They hit 16 wide, so there's a bit to clean up on there. But overall, they played well as a team. Gavin Murphy, Nathan McDonald and Paddy Cullen were all good in defence. So that was, and now from a Gussaran perspective, they have 2 points on the board from last week. Mark Flynn, their goalie, was excellent. He pulled off a number of saves. Mark Rossiter worked very hard in centre back, and Minnie Ryan worked very hard in centre forward. Graham Cullen came in for the second half and scored 3 points, and he worked hard as well. Minnie Ryan got 6 points for 5 from place balls. Graham Cullen with 3, Mark Rossiter with 1, and Kevin O'D with 1 as well. So
yeah, Gussaran impressed the first day, but now coming out the second day, maybe they might have been a bit flat. We played them before the championship, as I mentioned before, and they looked very strong. But look, I suppose that just shows where Clubon are at. Conal Flood scoring 2-5. He must have taken off the shin guards. Went to school with Conal and hurled with him all up along, and Conal used to wear the shin guards even at minor level, because of the story about Sean breaking his leg before the All-Ireland final. Conal said he'd wear the shin guards forever, but I think he's after taking them off now, and if he's scoring 2-5, I suppose it was about time to take off the shin guards, I think. But yeah, no, Conal's a great hurler, and to see him scoring 2-5, look, just shows that the calibre that he has down for Clubon. So 323 is a big score in any match. Doesn't matter who you're playing, that's good shooting.
Absolutely.
You'd nearly win every match scoring 323.
Now, you mentioned Feathered earlier, and we will be talking about Feathered shortly, but Gussaran now play Feathered, and that'll be an interesting game based on their form, both teams' form there. But moving on to another game there in the Group B there, we've Horswood and Buffers Alley. Buffers Alley edging it there 321 to 220, and this game was littered in frees, hence the high scoreline, and a 4-point win recorded then for the Alley. Paul Dempsey got his first start in the Intermediate Championship, and he scored all bar one of their frees. He chipped in with 1-2 from play, and on 16 minutes the Alley led 1-8 to 7 points. Horswood concluded the half strongly thanks to Conor Foley's points, and at half time the Alley led by 111 to 110. Around 14 minutes to go, the Alley led by 8 points. Darren O'Brien saved a penalty, but then a 20-metre free soon afterwards was scored. That brought the gap down to 3 points with 9 minutes left on the clock. Buffers Alley battled hard near the end, with the youthful trio of Owen O'Mara, Shamie O'Hagan and Cormac Walsh coming into the fore. and next up it's Clubon for the Alley. And an interesting fact there, thanks to our Buffers Alley correspondent, that 8 of Buffers Alley's first 15 will play under 21 tomorrow night, Wednesday. Jack Toomey, Owen McNulty, Tomas Whelan, Edward Harney, Cormac Walsh, Onamara, Shamie O'Hagan and Michael Butler.
Yeah, it's a very young team. 8 starters under 21. Look, that just shows the work is obviously being put in at the underage setup there for Buffers Alley. They're trying to get back to the top table of Wexford Hurling. 2 wins under their belt. They're not blowing teams out of the water either, which you don't want to be doing this time of the year. You know, you just want to be getting the winning momentum going. Look, their next match, it's going to be a great match for playing Clubon next. Top of the table clash. It will really start to show. I think next week will really show who's who and where are they at in terms of the intermediate championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for Horswood, they play Blackwater, which isn't a bad one either for Horswood to see where they stand. And so the last game, we're rounding off the Group B of the Courtyard Ferns Intermediate Hurling Championship. It's Blackwater recording a 4-point win, 23 points to 19 over St. Mogs of Feathered. Blackwater led by 9 points at half time thanks to a strong wind. Feathered's short puckouts weren't clicking fully for them, and some unforced errors didn't help them either. Darren Byrne for Blackwater marked Mikey Dwyer, who played in wing forward. Phelan Roach was good for Blackwater at corner back. Feathered missed a good few frees. In the second half, Feathered resumed strongly. They scored 3 points in quick succession, and Feathered got it back to a 2-point game with 15 minutes left on the clock. Feathered couldn't claw back the lead. A good goal chance for Blackwater, but Dean Wright's eventual low shot was saved and went out for a 65. And Mick Lillis, he got 16 points from with 4 of those coming from play, and apparently this game also was a bit stop-start with frees.
Yeah, well, if one lad is scoring, what was it, 12 points from frees, you'd have to say it must have been very stop-start. But look, after the first day I thought Blackwater might struggle, and now they came up this week and bet Feathered. And Feathered, I thought at the start of the year, as I said already, would be pushing to get into that county final. But look, it just seems like it's not clicking for Feathered at the minute. Their short puckouts didn't go right. Some unforced errors. But then that Blackwater team, they have some great hurlers. Darren Byrne, ex-inter-county hurler for Wexford, he got man of the match on his first day against Tipperary. You know, players like that, if they get back to form, you know, Blackwater could kick on, and you don't know where they could end up. Last year they got to the quarter final, they played Askamore, had a man sent off early in the first half, Blackwater did, and they looked strong. They almost overturned Askamore, so they could have ended up in a county semi-final last year. But look, teams will just, as I said before, get down to work again now this week, and this third round of fixtures is going to be a big one, because you know some teams mightn't have a win after 3 or 1. Some teams might be 3 from 3, so you'll know already who's going to qualify out of each group after this week.
Yeah. Brilliant. Lots to look forward to.
Of course there is. Right, the first game of the weekend then in the intermediate hurling is Timon and Askamore in Group A.
Timon and Askamore. I think Askamore will edge that one.
Oh, I don't know. I think Timon might do it. Like, as I was saying earlier, the real title contenders, they'll be pushing the whole way. I actually think Timon could have a big victory in that one.
Big one?
Yeah,
right.
I'm thinking maybe 4 or 5 points.
Okay. Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right, Michael, the next one, Bunclody and St. James's.
St. James's, okay.
It's a tough one to call.
Right. I think I'm going to go with the Jimmies here.
Just on the form Bunclody's on, or?
Yeah, it's just the Jimmies they were close enough there with Timon. Good old game coming into it, and they should be springing. So yeah, tip the Jimmies there. I'm
going to be bold.
Yeah,
just like I done in the first round of senior fixtures. I'm calling the draw in the Jimmies and Bunclody.
I like it. Right.
Should be a great game though. Then in Group B on the Saturday as well, you have Feathered and Gussaran.
I think Gussaran are going to win that. They were able to win the good derby there in the first round, and I think think they'll edge this one as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think on the form Feathered are showing at the minute, I'm going to go for Gusheron as well.
Right, okay.
And then on the Sunday, you have Adamstown and Tara Rocks. I think I already know who you're going to pick for this one.
Yeah, I'll go for Tara Rocks. There's something about them there. Well, yeah, and look, unfortunately, Adamstown are just plagued with injuries there. So
yeah, I'm gonna go for Tara Rocks as well. You know,
yeah.
They seem to be hurling to their best ability at the minute, so hopefully they can just kick on now and win that one the weekend. And then the last two remaining fixtures, you have Horswood and Blackwater.
Okay, I think Blackwater will edge that one.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you on that one.
Right, okay.
It's going to be a very tight match again, though. You know, Blackwater, they never really bet by a big score, and they don't usually win by that big of a score either, but I think they might just nip this one.
Yeah.
And then the last game of the weekend, the big one, Sunday evening, in Patrick's Park, Clabon and Buffers Alley.
Clabon and Buffers Alley. I think Clabon have enough there.
I'm going to go with you. Just out the road, I suppose I'll have to say Clabon, you know.
We're probably getting the best match reports for Buffers Alley, and there's great pedigree there, but there's just some, the Clabon seem to be pepping there at the moment.
Yeah, they seem to be going great at the moment, so I think, look, I think I'm going to tip down to that match myself now, because that has the bones of being a strong, hard, great game of hurling. You know, two teams that could take skioks off each other now by the end of that match, so that. I think I might call down to that one.
We hope West Virginia Hurling Championship has many teams taking skioks off one another this weekend.